my mic sound? You feel like BG is watching this? Well, members, if BG is watching this, go ahead and give him, let him know he's number one for us. That's for him. So what is up? Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to another Sleuth Intuition Live. We're going to be discussing the Delphi double homicide that took place over there in Delphi, Indiana. This crime took place 2017. Two young girls, 13-year-old Abby Williams and 14-year-old Libby German, went out to a local hiking area just outside of city limits and would never come home. It's looking more and more like a catfish, lured to a specific location, quickly killed, and not a lot of information surrounding exactly why it happened and how it happened. Either it doesn't exist or it hasn't been released to the public just yet. So I hope everybody had their coffee, their bong rips, whatever gets you going in the morning, because we are going to jump right in. Oh, we got a full house. Jerry, thank you so much. Yep. And if you guys got the middle fingers there, go ahead and put them up for the POS that destroyed these families. And that's what happened. It hasn't stopped. We're not going to get outraged. We're not going to go out trolling. We're not going to advocate. We're going to bring attention. And while we're doing that, we're going to try to make sense of it all. Hey, Jacqueline. Oops, 7 p.m. That's a respectable time. This might be the sweet spot because I have a lot of people who subscribe to my channel in Europe and Australia. So I always feel bad because I can't catch them at the right time. And then the comments in all my videos are getting too much for me to handle. I can't. Every once in a while, I'll put like an hour aside and go through all the comments and do my best, to respond to as many people as I can. But it's just getting overwhelming at this point. William says, what do you all think the detectives are looking for? I think a possible murder weapon. I really hope. I hope it's a murder weapon, or if it's something like a cell phone or something like that, hopefully it'll lead to something big. Sometimes one small clue will lead to a big clue that might lead to the killer. So all we know is that they're still looking. That's what counts. Good to see everybody. Olivia, Jessa, Rain Dancer, William, Jane, Turbo. Thank you, Jane, for the super sticker. Hey, Joe. Joe says, no, I think it was planned. I think BG asked them to go to the bridge and take a picture and post it to Snapchat when they got there. And that's what we're going to talk about today, Joe. Think the timeline. From the moment they were dropped off to about the time it said that it was all over with, I mean, you got like an hour and a half. And from the time they posted their first Snapchat photo or uploaded it, I mean, we're talking minutes. This guy was on them. So we're going to go through all of that information, try to make sense. What does it mean? Were the Snapchat photos, was that his kind of his trigger? It's like, okay, there it is. Let's go, guys. They're here. They're right where we told them to be. Because, I mean, it's even possible with this time frame that they had somebody hiding back there. Think about it. If what Julie Melvin said was true, Kay Weber's neighbor saw somebody who basically didn't look right. They didn't look right. And they were lingering. I don't know if the word trespassing was used, but definitely went and got the husband and said, hey, like, I need you to come take a look at this creeper with a darker appearance. I think they even said something along the lines like evil in his eyes. But the time marker on that one is about 1:30. Okay, so right at 1:30. Now, this is right when the girls are supposedly about to be dropped off. So they could have text messaged the killer like, hey, we're going to be there around 1:30. Okay, guys, get in your positions. As soon as they get back here, we're going to ambush them. So you got somebody who's part of the ambush lingering on the south end of the bridge, seen by the quote and unquote dog lady. Witness who I believe may have provided the younger looking sketch, made the comment about the blue eyes. Not all this stuff is rumor, because early on you had people like Kim Riley also mentioning the very same things, the blue eyes and a female witness and things along those lines. Hey, Lakeside. Happy Monday, Kelly. Turbo says, Sleuth, I feel like they are searching for a hard drive containing photos or videos based off transcript and press conferences. A hard drive? Why a hard drive? I'm curious. Why are you thinking hard drive? Joe says, I just think it's strange that the girl there took a similar picture to Libby on the bridge around 3 p.m. I think it was closer to, it might even have been in between 3:15 and 3:45. So it was much later. I think she didn't get, I don't even think she got to the bridge, if you're talking about Cheyenne, um, until like 3:15 or something like that. William says, Bridge Guy has to be local to Delphi and he knows that area very well. Yeah, because it's looking more and more like it's planned. Now, why are you going to plan a murder, a double murder? Maybe it wasn't planned to be a double murder, but you knew it was potentially a double murder. She's with her friend. You were speaking to her the day before and the day of, if you are the killer. Why would you plan a murder at a place that you're not familiar with? That doesn't make any sense. So remember, the same things that are telling this killer he can successfully proceed with this crime are the same things that will successfully put him in prison and hopefully on death row. So yeah, he had to know the place. Law enforcement believes he is local, and they said even he could just have worked there. You know, there's a lot of places driving through Delphi. We know Brad, we know Julian, we know all these people working at these huge plants. And then you got the Packers plant there. Garrett Kurtz was working there. You know, these places are employment for thousands of people in that area. So if you're working at one of these large facilities here, you know, come lunchtime, come after hours, maybe you're not wanting to drive all the way back to Logansport or Lafayette or whatever it is. Maybe you want to stop by the trails. Maybe you want to go have a cigarette, go for a walk, or maybe you want to take the family back. Hey, you know, I work by this, you know, I drive through Delphi and there's this trail. We'll go spend a day there. So I think they were definitely familiar with the area. Question is, were they trying to contain the crime scene or whatever they were trying to accomplish under the bridge, down the hill under the bridge? Were they trying to kidnap? I mean, they did kidnap these girls technically, but were they using the private drive? Was there a vehicle down there? You know, why down the hill? What's down there? What is the killer? Is it just away from view? You know, go down the hill because, you know, I saw a lady up here earlier, or I had a confrontation with these people up here. So if you go down the hill, we'll be away from them. Or if you go down the hill, that's where my trap has been set. It's beyond sad, Matt. Just taking a closer look how, you know, law enforcement's been handling it, the way the FBI and local and state communicate. I mean, it definitely hasn't been comforting watching them communicate. Turbo says BG was there to push them to the south end where I believe KK was. Yeah, if everything that we've heard is true and the younger sketch is the guy on the south end, yeah, I mean, could have dropped him off over there. That's why I'm so curious. How often do people sneak past and get onto that private drive? How many people use that route, especially in the winter, knowing that um, the owners are going to be away for the winter? Joe says, if Libby never showed up that day, would it have been Cheyenne who would have been killed? Yeah, that's a very good question. If this had nothing to do with the whole catfishing thing, which at this point is very rare, but we don't know what to believe. We know that law enforcement, when it comes time to get a warrant or something along that line, they become salesmen. They're trying to sell a narrative, to a judge so that they can further their investigation. But when we get our hands on those documents, the same people who are preaching things like confirmation bias and stuff like that, that's what they're doing. They have confirmation bias once the Anthony shots, and you can't blame them. They're hopeful. You get the Anthony shots information tied to Keegan Kline, then he was talking with them, then you got the ski mask incident. But we don't know how much of that information is factual. We don't know how much is being sold to us. We don't know what is just circumstantial. Yeah, William, I don't think anybody deserves this. Nobody. Hey, Don. This is a response to Joe. Before the social media connections were released, I thought Cheyenne and Cheryl could have been the target. Wow, that's scary to think. Also, what if Kelsey would have gone with those girls? I don't think they would have stopped because she was there. These guys seem very determined. Think about it. You were just witnessed by two people that live right there by the south end of the bridge, if the information is correct. You've just been seen. Okay. So they just saw you. Why would you go commit a murder? Your goal of being in or setting a trap at that location is not to be seen. Your whole reason for most likely committing the murder, in my opinion, is that you were seen by the two girls. Okay, so you were just seen again. What is going on in this killer's mind? Why is he so determined after being seen and witnessed by two people, apparently a man and a woman, adult man and a woman, who got a good look at you? Why do you then proceed to commit this crime? To me, that is an act of desperation. All of it. It's seeming more and more desperate. And that's what I want to talk about today. We're going to go through the timeline. I have it clocked in at about 1:40. Jacqueline, thanks for clearing that up. 3:30. We're going to go by what David Erskine was saying in his text. Because I think that even if he didn't have firsthand knowledge, I think he was there. I think he got the information that he was gathering, I think was good. I think it's safe to say what happened out there probably is pretty close to what he was letting us know. So we'll start at the 1:40 mark, and we'll take our time going through each step. I have a feeling that when they got dropped off, because there's a what is it, about a half hour between when they were dropped off and the first Snapchat photo. And we know it takes about 8 minutes from the Mears lot to walk to Freedom Bridge. Okay, so it takes 8 minutes. You're dropped off, you walk in 8 minutes. You stop at the Freedom Bridge. You're like, okay, no Anthony shots or whatever it is. Where's my friends? Where's the group of friends that I'm looking for? Okay, they're not here. Spend about 5 minutes looking around, maybe looking for the boy, maybe noticing some things that looked out of place. Like, okay, let's get out of here. Such and such didn't show up. We didn't plan to be here long anyway. Let's go back. Okay, takes another 8 minutes from the Freedom Bridge to make it back, maybe give or take. So that would be just the amount of time to get dropped off and snap the first photo and upload it to Snapchat. And that's just the thought. They could have lingered around. They could have messed around. They could have texted. But the thing is, the reason I believe that is because we heard that the group that apparently they were going to meet up with was a group of girls, went down to the creek below the bridge and were kind of hanging out. And apparently that's when the girls showed up. So they just missed each other. So that's why I think Libby and Abby got dropped off and went directly to Freedom Bridge. And then those other girls left out through the Mears lot saying, hey, they didn't show up or whatever. Just a theory. All right. Catch up with chat here, and then we'll get started on today's topic. Yeah, hard drive. I wonder why a hard drive? What makes you think that? Yeah, there's bridges all around his house. And he wouldn't even really need a bridge. The back of his, the river flows right through his backyard. Uploaded to a computer. Yeah, but why throw the hard drive? Why not just like burn the computer or destroy it? And I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. I'm just asking. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to understand. Because you could be right. Ron Logan. That's interesting. William says, in my opinion, Keegan and Tony Kline know who the bridge guy is, and they all were in on the murders. The evidence is definitely pointing in their direction, for sure. Well, at least Keegan Kline. I don't know about Tony. He may just be, he's definitely a bad guy from what we know of him, and that could have been what created a killer. But I just don't think we have enough pieces of this puzzle to say with certainty, like it was this person or it was that person. Because you could think about this. You have this guy who's catfishing these girls, right? They're all enamored with him. They've all fallen in love with him, and now they're fighting over him. Okay. So what if that fight was motivation for murder? And I'm not saying anything along those lines took place. I'm just saying, what if the Anthony Shots thing plays a part, but unknowingly, like it created some type of havoc within a life, or it motivated Libby to do things, maybe sever ties with friends or expose friends, or maybe just make a stand where she normally wouldn't. Because I don't know if you guys remember being that age, but to me, that's where real romance and love at first sight and all that kind of stuff. To me, that's where that existed, was in the early teenage years, all these changes in life, you're growing up. That's where, stuff like that happened. So it could have been a really big deal for her, not knowing that she was being catfished, and maybe the fact that she fell so hard is why they felt they could take advantage and set the trap the way they did. Like, hey, she has no clue what we're doing. We can definitely proceed, because whoever did this could have been trying to do this multiple times. They could have been trying to do it for the last 2 years. And that's what the whole Goldilocks stream was about when I was talking with Frank, is maybe this person has met with other girls, looked around and say, hey, this just isn't right. There's too many people over here. This person they may know who I am. We'll try another time. Months go by, they're catfishing, and then they have another person here. Okay, meet me over here at Foster Park. Remember, was it Kayla? Can't remember. Murder, she interviewed this young lady, and she was talking about Anthony Shots tried to meet her. She never met Keegan face to face, so she doesn't know if it was Keegan Kline who showed up. He could be the one catfishing, but somebody else could be showing up trying to commit these murders, or it was Keegan Kline. But he shows up and he says, okay, it's not, the circumstances are not right for me to go ahead with my first murder, so to speak. She brought a friend. So that's why he got so furious. And next time he's like, I don't care if she brings a friend. The last time I tried to, the person brought a friend and it ruined my plans. So next time we're just going to include the friend in the plans. So it's like evolving. And my concern is if we don't keep attention on this case and we don't keep talking about it, this person, once they feel comfortable, they're going to do it again. All right, let me get this pulled up here. And I just yanked this from a video I'm working on. This video should be ready pretty soon. There's only audio towards the end, so if you don't hear any audio, don't panic. All right. So it was Monday, February 13th, 2017, a small town smack dab in the middle of Lafayette and Logansport called Delphi, Indiana. Said to be an unusually warm day for that day of the year. Somewhere in this tiny city, two girls were eager to capitalize on a no-school snow day. 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German had no idea the evil they would encounter on this warm snow day. At approximately 1:40 p.m., Abby and Libby were dropped off at the Monon High Bridge Trail by Libby's big sister, Kelsey German. Kelsey dropped the girls off at what is known as the Mears Lot. This secondary access point was named by its proximity to the Mears property, as seen in these images. This trail access point, as opposed to the Freedom Bridge access location, is across the street from the Mears farm. So let's pause this right here. Okay, so that is what we are going to start our discussion with. Nathan Clark says it wasn't random. Nobody runs around with a murder kit hoping to find somebody. What murder kit? I keep hearing about this murder kit. What murder kit? And what the hell is a murder kit? I mean, I know what it is. I've seen Dexter, and I know some serial killers bury murder kits all over different states. That's like saying 100% what you're seeing in that video that Libby took. I'm not saying it's not a murder kit, but how do you know? Kimmy says, rumor is that Brad Heath saw somebody leaving as well as the young girl, also the dog lady. It's my understanding that some of these witnesses described a man with his lower face covered with like a scarf and a painter's cap. But this was closer to Freedom Bridge. Yeah, Joe, and that's my concern. Hey, Bossy, how you doing? Good to see you. Morgan says, do we have any idea roughly of how far away BG was from the girls when he said down the hill? No. I often wondered if she, as soon as he got close enough, she put the phone in her pocket. Maybe in her, if she had a pocket in her hoodie, something where it could have fallen out if she was to start running. Maybe she threw it. But I'm not sure how far away he was. If I had to guess, I would say maybe 10 feet. Yeah, William, it looks that way. Hard to say for certain, though. Rain Dancer says one investigator after 3 months said he will do it again. Either your niece, your son, your daughter. He didn't say your mother or brother, means kids were the target. That's my assumption. Hey, Jeff, good to see you. Really? That's interesting. Jeff says Google used to take you to the private drive if you looked up directions to Highbridge. Yeah, and me and Derek were having a conversation. He brought up a while ago things that would change the trajectory, certain events that would have changed everything. And to me, it seems like they had knowledge about Kay Weber being a snowbird and not being home at the time. Either that or they just took a chance, and went around that private drive, not knowing that it only led up to one home. Those are the types of things that I really wish I could understand. But Doug Carter says, we know exactly what happened. So, in regards to the crime itself and the murder taking place, Doug Carter made it seem pretty clear that they know what happened back there. So when we speculate and all this other stuff, I don't think that concerns them at all because they know what happened and they know it's not what we think. Yeah, Kimosabi says at that time of year, they were found as the only place you could commit the crime and escape through the cemetery, as you can easily be seen for close to half a mile from any point. Yeah, it's very clear because there's no leaves on the trees. Like, look, for example, you can kind of see um, the property there in the background to the left. Oh, that's creepy. Yep, the money account, the exchange of money. I just don't see Libby being enamored or feeling like she's talking to a really young guy and believing it and feeling like they're having a connection. And then the guy's like, well, send me nudes for money. I don't think that at that point, I don't think she would be convinced anymore. So I have a hunch, and I'm not a professional. I don't have any law enforcement background, but I have a feeling the money was sent for a burner phone. She could not do the things that he was asking for on her phone. Got it reset and still couldn't do it. Or it wasn't enough. and he had her doing things that now he needed her to go get a separate phone. Let me send you money, because I know you can send money on Apple, right? If you have an iPhone and I have an iPhone, I can send you money to your anonymously to your Apple iPhone. Jessica, hello, says, I found it interesting. Julie Melvin said rumor was early on that Libby was there at the trails to meet a teenage boy. Mm-hmm. And I can't verify it, but apparently one of Libby's male friends, who was the same age, was supposed to meet them out there to kind of help her or watch over her, because she told him, yeah, I'm meeting a 19-year-old there. But for whatever reason, he wasn't able to make it. Matt Mosley says, hey, Sleuth, I'm fairly new subscriber and just wanted to let you know what I think you do amazing job on the podcast. Keep up the great work, buddy. Hey, Matt, thank you. Oh, yeah, he's walking with purpose. Libby is directly, he's looking right at her and she's filming him. It was almost like it was her only protection. Like, hey, man, I'm filming you. Don't come next to me. Like, you're on film. Because just imagine being on that bridge. Let's say they were on the bridge and he came walking on from the south end where apparently Kay Weber's neighbors seen him. What if he just came walking out on the bridge while they were there and then turned back around? Imagine how scary that would be. Even as a grown man, like, you don't know. Like, if you get into a scuffle up on that high bridge and you fall, whew. Kimmy says, I think he missed his opportunity to grab them before they hit that bridge, depending on how many items were at the crime scene. Bossy says, cold and rainy here today and no searches, but a lot of new markers in the section of the river they were searching Friday. Thank you so much, Bossy. What was the timeline on the money into the girls' accounts? According to the transcript, it's made to seem like it was between the 10th and the 15th, because they mentioned Keegan Kline on his personal phone. It during the time they said all this grooming would have been taking place, that's what you had deleted off of your phone. So all his other phones, his computer, whatever they were grabbing all this information, I think an iPad, 2 other phones, on all of them, the history wasn't deleted. It was just left alone. But on his personal phone, from the 10th to the 15th, it was completely wiped clean. So that makes you wonder if it went, from an iPhone to an iPhone, he could send money anonymously or under the Anthony Shots name. Hey, Steffa, thanks for becoming a member. All right. So I caught up on most of the chat. Let me grab a couple more, then we'll keep moving. And hello. Perps may not have planned to commit the murders at the bridge or even to murder, but the girls were naturally so strong and struggling, bless them, that the crime plan went awry. Wow. Yeah, think about it. So the guy apparently was seen. The young sketch, the guy was pretty much seen right there on the south end of the bridge at 1:30. 30 minutes later, he's committing a murder. Why, after being seen, would you proceed to do that? So either it's planned and you're extremely desperate. What would make a grown man desperate to kill 2 girls? A secret, in my opinion. Because if this was a killer going out there to try to see, okay, I've been wanting to kill This might be my opportunity. You know, I haven't really planned this out too well. Oh shit, somebody just seen me. Like he would run, if somebody was with him, he would go to his friend and be like, hey, those people just saw me. They just got a really good look at me. I had a confrontation with her husband. Like, we can't do this. We're going to get caught. But the killer was thinking, no, I have to do this. The girls are here. If we don't, we're going to prison for a very long time. And think about it. If they really did uncover this huge pedo ring and the ski mask thing was involved, so if this is some kind of huge group of sickos, maybe different people were given different jobs, you know, like you guys need to go cover this up. You need to do this and you need to go do that. So when all this speculation starts happening, I want people out there not to forget that in that transcript, law enforcement talks about the biggest pedo ring in Indiana history. You know what I mean? You couldn't even come up with that with the greatest speculation. So that is reality. Now, that means that this could be much more of a horrible crime than we originally thought. There could be sex trafficking. There could be all kinds of stuff that we're unaware of. And that could explain why they didn't arrest Keegan Kline right away. All right. Sorry, guys. I got to skip a lot of this chat. I don't want to skip too much, though. Hey, lesbian. Teresa. Deep diver. What's up? And if anybody wants to call in, feel free, if you even just to ask a question. It's good to have you, Stefan. Hey, what's up, Tech Death? Okay, let's continue on here. Okay, around 2 p.m., just 20 minutes after being dropped off at the Mears lot, Libby took and uploaded this photo to her Snapchat. Okay, so around 2 o'clock, anywhere between 2 and 2:07, or I would say anywhere between 2 and 2:05, this photo was taken, and we can clearly see that there's nobody on the south end there. There's nobody there. Now, is there somebody hiding in the trees? Is there somebody underneath the bridge on the south end? We don't know. Not from this image. True Crime with Shannon, hello, says, I'm trying to go back and relook at everything. So many questions. I do think it was planned by VG. It's looking more and more planned. They could have stayed up all night planning it, or they could have been planning it before they even met Libby. They could have targeted her for some other reason. A4 says, hey, Sleuth in chat, if Libby received money, she has a credit card or debit card. Not necessarily. She had an iPhone, which kind of operates in the same fashion. Just having an iPhone account, you can receive money. Hey, SP. It's a good question. Yeah, it's terrifying. Imagine just being like on the bridge and somebody was threatening you. Or just like grunting and making weird noises and coming towards you. I don't care who you are. In the back of your mind, like, shit, I could fall off this bridge. Anne says, I think one of the most misleading things about the law enforcement press conference was that the voice on the audio was the voice of the BG. I think the voice audio was of the second perp speaking out, not seen on video. Yeah, it's very possible. Burston alludes to that. Doug Carter alludes to that. Hey, Jill. Good to see you. William says, yeah, that's what I don't get. They said the girls were close to the bridge and right off of one of the walking trails. How could searchers miss them on February 13th? So I think the girls were not there. Well, if you look at the crime scene, you take a look at the photos by J. Kyle Keener, and you look at the area where Tony Leggett is, he's right there where it appears the girls went up the embankment there. Just behind him is all this brush. It's tall grass and brush. So if the girls were dragged through that brush into an area where you might avoid just walking, I think it's very easy they were missed. I mean, I think it's factual that they missed. But straight from the mouth of Mike Patty, he says that they don't know. He says, we don't know if the girls were taken to another location, and then where they were located was, and I quote, I don't like using this word, but it's a technical term, dump site. He's saying they don't know. But from his perspective and the people that he knows and his communication with investigators and law enforcement, he doesn't think that. He says he's confident. But yeah, he doesn't know. So that's a good point. Jane from the country says, hey, Bossy, thanks for the update on the Wabash River search. We really appreciate that. I mean, that's like up-to-date information right there, quicker than local media. And that's possible, William. Like I said, even Mike Patty isn't sure. They haven't been clear on that. Revenge. Revenge is a powerful motivator for sadistic people, I'm sure. I mean, it's possible. The timeline for sure. Be very risky. I mean, you definitely wouldn't want to bring the girls back to a location they're searching. It would make sense if maybe it was close by, but not right across the creek from where they disappeared. I mean, that's just not smart to do that. I'm not saying it didn't happen, because maybe they didn't take him very far. Maybe they didn't take him in a car. Maybe they took him to like a barn, or because I know there's a lot of rumors about that kind of stuff. Yeah, Shay Watson asks, are there any photos of any graffiti under or around the bridge? Yeah, there is some graffiti under there. I've been curious. Was that surgery, Joe? If so, it sounds successful. Nathan Clark says, has anybody seen the KK album cover? It's a picture of a woman covered in mud with her hair all messy, basically the appearance of a raped woman. Yeah. And this KK guy could have us all fooled, you know? That's what he does. He's a gaslighter. Just like a lot of these content creators are out here gaslighting people completely. And some people are natural, can do it naturally. They can control first appearances and things like that. You have to be careful. People like that are really scary, and he could have done this all by himself. Robin, hello, says I recall that either girls had issue with their cell phone, then they factory reset. Curious. That's not my understanding. I wonder if any prior info would have helped with the catfishing issue. Just my thoughts. So it's my understanding that Becky um, put out a Facebook post or answered a question on Facebook stating that the phone was reset 10 days prior. And then after we talked with Jill, or I'm sorry, not Jill, Julie Melvin, um, she says yes, they did reset that. She's not sure why, but she does know that it was reset. Yep, that is true, Bossy. Hey, Pep, good to see you. Well, you also have the Valentine's Day. Miss Thing, hello, says if any of the crime scene photos floating around are legit, it had to have been planned and set up. But the time factor, that's where the whole Valentine's Day thing comes in to play. When I'm thinking about um, staging and signatures, for some reason, it being so close to Valentine's Day, you have to wonder if this was a love interest and they had something set up to try to woo one of the girls. And it may even be possible they crossed that creek somehow without, I don't know. It's hard to tie in all this information, but it's possible. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, it seems like it would have taken two people to commit this crime, or somebody that knew what they were doing. Yep, William. Hopefully that's where they end up. Yeah, that's possible, Jennifer. Vanessa says that could be right, Sleuth. They talk about being in one of those rings. You have to give CSAM, making yourself part of. Therefore, anyone involved is guilty. hmm The largest pedal ring in Indiana history is tied to Keegan Kline. So that means the killer could be anybody. Could be a prominent person in society. Will be shocked. Meaning that there could be a cover up going on, because some important people are involved. I'm just not sure. Good to see you, Tech. Hey, Chucky. Apparently, everybody has service out there. Or do you mean in general? Hey, lesbian. I think at the point this initial photo at 2:05, they still felt safe. Yeah, I think they were just having a good time, enjoying the day. They had no idea what was about to happen. Sleuth, that is not Libby's photo. I'm pretty sure it is. Hey, Michelle. Hi, I'm fairly new to the channel and I'm hooked. I don't think Libby sent money. I think law enforcement called the money account because the profile picture was a picture of money. Yes, Michelle, I was going to respond. You actually left that in a comment on one of the videos, and it did kind of make me think, but I don't agree with that. I think if you look at the transcripts, they mention it twice. They're pretty specific on what was going on. He says the money going to Libby at one point, and then he calls it, and then you got the money account. He actually uses the word money account. And there wasn't any photos of a money account, just making him appear to have money. But I believe the word account is actually used. That photo was using the masking program. Look at all the faces you can see in the photo. I just think it's the reproduction, pareidolia, and all that kind of stuff. Hey, what's up, Tattoo? Good to see you. I think Tattoo says so much has been going on around about the girls being found in the water. What do you think? Well, it's my understanding that the coroner's report, there was a report of water in the lungs. So I can't verify that. That might lead to why people think that. Also, Kim Riley, when the bodies were located, he mistakenly said in Deer Creek. And then you have the John Weaver situation. Well, right after the girls were found, he says they found the girls in the water. And then you have stuff by certain YouTube creators who are trying to say that what we see on the RTV6 footage is the girls in the water. I don't agree with that. I don't believe that's what we're seeing. Yeah, so I don't think they were in the water. I think they were, I think they made it over the embankment and just maybe 20 feet. But there's nothing that points that they were found in the water. Just some miscommunications and misconceptions and people spreading rumors. But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything against people looking, observing, and trying to figure it out. But from what I've seen visually, everything that's been provided, I don't subscribe to that theory as of right now. That could be a piece of the puzzle that they're keeping quiet, you know. Maybe only the killer would have known that. I'm not sure. Yeah, that part is definitely confusing. Okay, let's continue on here. Now at 2:07 p.m., Libby took and uploaded another image to Snapchat. This time she was facing the other direction. You can see Abby walking on the bridge in this image here. So this apparently was at 2:07. And now we can see the north end of the bridge. Nobody. Nothing. You have to take into account mistakes happen, especially early on. Law enforcement made many. Yes, Jim. Kind of like with Doug Carter saying the abandoned or the vehicle at the abandoned building on the 14th. I mean, everybody knew he meant the 13th, but critical people need him to say the 13th. But if anybody watched the extended version of that, Burston actually came out and answered a lot of questions for the media, and he cleared all that information up. He cleared up that it was the building that was abandoned. He cleared up that the vehicle that they're questioning was on the 13th and not the 14th. Big Fish, hello, says, I don't think Libby was super flashy or about the money. Yeah, I don't see anything indicating that. It's just curious. What was the money about? To me, I think it was just like, hey, I need you to go take this money and go buy a phone. Not sure. Hey, Lorraine, good to see you. Yep, like Jim said, they're just people. And a lot of these cold cases, the reason they went cold is from human error. You always wonder about the corruption aspect. Bossy says the one rumor that stuck with me was Libby supposedly going to the police the next day. If true, and she discovers Anthony Shots was fake and soliciting girls and let him know, then perhaps they did it to avoid. Yeah, it's possible. Every time I think about that, though, Bossy, I go back to the transcripts, to the interview transcript. One of the investigators told Kagan that Libby bought into the account and that she pretty much fell for him. Like she thought she was really talking to a good-looking, successful young person. And I don't know about you, but young love, that is a force to be reckoned with. I remember one time when I was 13, I convinced my mom as a Christmas present to me to buy my girlfriend at the time a Christmas present. And I wouldn't shut up about it until I got my way. Yep, fantasy. I mean, you got to remember these killers are stuck in their brain. They're stuck in their mind. And once again, going back to the transcript, we know Keegan Kline, I think as far back as 2014, was catfishing these girls. It was like any success he had as a young person, that was it. He peaked. And he even started catfishing some of the girls he went to high school with. Family friend or children of family friends. Yin Yang says, yes, a barn right there in the area. Then brought back to where they were found. This person is local and an upstanding member of society. Well, I also wonder, Yin, if, let's say, somebody in law enforcement, maybe not one of the prominent investigators, but somebody that has access to evidence and things like that. Let's say they were part of this huge peddle ring, and behind the scenes, somebody comes to these law enforcement people and says, "Hey, I need you to get rid of this evidence, or we're going to expose you as well. If we get exposed, you will be exposed." So at this point, this person who is in law enforcement is now motivated to sabotage the case. So what if that's what they're looking for in that river? What if they're looking for a piece of evidence that was taken and apparently sabotaged? But then again, law enforcement would be smart enough to get rid of it in the right way, you think, by burning it, or maybe not putting it somewhere where potentially they would be looking, unless that was part of the plan. Hey, what's up, baby? Good to see you. That's a good question, William. What is up with that car, and why are they asking for the driver? I mean, you would assume the vehicle needs a driver. Why say the driver? Is that because you already have the passenger? Lori, from what I hear, the rumor mill, don't quote me. Don't ever quote me, please. It's a phone and a knife they're looking for. And it's possible they may have already found one. Four says, one burning question I can't shake. Is the crime scene happened in plain sight of a kitchen window? Really think about that. Mistake and got lucky, or just in plain sight? That's correct, Four. And apparently, the neighbor on the opposite side of K, the son there, goes out, takes the dogs out, or just to get some fresh air, will come and look over that little cliff embankment there, looking over the Deer Creek, right where the crime scene is. And apparently, he would have just missed it. So that's an interesting little fact as well. And she even mentions that to a reporter doing a broadcast. Yep. Would have to back it up, Nobody's going to believe that liar. I don't know if I've ever seen a bigger liar than Keegan Kline. I mean, the dude's been lying for so much. I mean, look at his music. Does anybody believe that he did any of that? Oh, Lord. What a thought. What's up, Red? How you doing? Oh yeah, Sassy, the gaslighting. You guys got to be careful of that. Don't let these YouTubers gaslight you. It's disgusting what they're doing out here. Don't let any of them do it. Don't let anybody gaslight you. Just remember, when anybody's trying to tell you who you are, consider the source. When you're like, wait a minute, am I messing up? Am I doing something wrong? Consider who's telling you this information. Is this person first? Is he a felon? Does he abuse women? Another good one is, are they known for gaslighting? Don't let anybody distract you. We're not here for any of that. Especially don't let somebody that's in prison for catfishing gaslight us. This Keegan Kline could be more sophisticated than we even know, but he knows the power of what you see. Same with a lot of these strange creators. And if you look at some of the other cases too, like, oh man, like Summer Wells, that'll break your heart. I don't even know if they even talk about Summer Wells anymore. They talk about the case a whole lot, but it's more about the creators and all this weird stuff. Yeah, you guys, my recommendation, and I know from personal experience, stay far, far away from that. It's not helping the case at all. It's not helping with your mental health and overall positivity for the world. And especially think about what the family thinks when they watch that shit. Shay Watson says, we know a computer can never be completely deleted. Phones now are computers. Yep. I think there may be a way to get prior activity off the storage somehow. They might be able to just grab it directly off. I'm not an expert with the hard drives, but maybe there's a way. Turbo says KK is trying to catfish YouTubers and podcasters now. It's sick to see this pattern of behavior continue. Sick, but unsurprising. Yeah, I wasn't surprised, but it is extremely sick. And these con men, they're natural gaslighters. They just con you immediately. They get you thinking that they're like nice people, successful people, good family people. And then once they got you, they'll exploit you, use you, and throw you away. And then do the same thing with the next little fly that falls into the spider web. It's really disgusting. And I hope you guys protect yourselves from that. Jessica, that's what I thought. And that's very possible. Shay Watson says probably a lot of prominent people involved in that ring. Yeah, what makes it large? Is it just because there's so many people in it? Or is it because there's prominent people in that community involved? And maybe that was the frustrating part for Doug. He's like, man, we really got our hands full with this. We got an uphill battle. And it seems like the case may have taken a back seat to this pedal ring investigation for, momentarily, allowing Keegan to basically live his life for a good 3 years. The link is placed at the top. Hit that link. You'll come backstage and I'll let you on. Oh, Kimmy says Randy and Marv's cell service sucks out there. Okay, maybe that's where that came from. Because I remember early on, people were like, yeah, you don't really get service out here. And the girls may have been trying to call 911, but they couldn't get any service. Yeah, there's definitely movement. Something's going on. Hey, what's up, Goat? What's up, JW? We know a lot about you. Yeah, that was a very telling comment. We know a lot about you. We don't, but Doug sounds like he does. All right, let's continue on because of time here. So this picture was taken and uploaded at 2:07. Okay. Now at 2:13, just 6 minutes after uploading that image of Abby on the bridge to her Snapchat, Libby took this video. Now at about 2:14, Libby captured this audio said to be at the end of a 43-second video that was taken by Libby of the suspect. So basically a little over an hour and a half, they were at the trails and then kidnapped and murdered. I mean, how does that happen if the person wasn't already there, prepared, or just enraged? Shane Evans, the mayor. I don't think I've seen one piece of evidence that pointed at Shane. Thanks, Miss Thing. Lynn, thank you. Oh, that's a scary thought. Yeah, and that's a good point as well. Hey, Go Sleuth, I agree that there was most likely a pre existing relationship between the girls, at least one of the perpetrators, and they may have been trying to convince one of them to acknowledge or deny it. Yeah, so this goes along a theory. Keegan Kline, he catfishes the girls, passes them over to dad and his creepy Skype account. So once he's on the Skype account, he does his best not to let his face be seen. Oh, my light's broken or the camera's broken. I don't know. Law enforcement explained that that's pretty common with these cases, that they pull, they send them over to a Skype and then they're like, oh, I wish I could come on camera, but my camera's broken. So if Keegan Kline is the catfish, passing him over to dad, and then maybe dad and his friend take it a little too far. They get personal numbers and they start communicating for real. And now they know that they've screwed up. They got to silence these girls before they're exposed, because Indiana has what's called, I think, habitual offender laws. It's kind of like the strike rule in California. Like, there's serious penalties that come for repeat offenders in the state of Indiana. So that's something to be afraid of. That might motivate you. Matt says, how were the girls not found the first night? It would be almost impossible not to find them that night. I will always believe something nefarious was going on that night. There's just no way. Yeah, for them to cancel that search, not, walk by the girls, not see them on thermal drone footage. But, those are scientific questions. There's a lot that plays into that. And you would have to do a lot of experiments to know exactly for sure. When, the common sense answer is they just overlooked it. They weren't expecting there to be a murder scene, where two girls were brutally murdered. They were looking for maybe two injured girls, two lost girls, signs that they may have been, at this location, things like that. They weren't looking for two dead bodies. I agree. Law enforcement, really, if they ever do another presser, whether they got new information or not, they should just answer questions. Just clarify a lot of this information for us. There's no reason that we have to be speculating about, factual information. You have people still wondering if the car was abandoned or the CPS building was abandoned. And it's not your fault if you're confused by that. It's confusing the way they provided us information. The killer may be in this room. How do you not speculate when the lead investigators are telling you that that he's talking and the killer might be right there in front of him? So we didn't start the speculation. We didn't feed the fire. We're just a few little twigs that jumped in. And some of us, we stay lit a little bit longer. Yep, motivation. She won't be quiet. She did not listen to my threats. I have to go further to silence them. I don't know, Wanda. I heard that it was pinged over there at Freedom Bridge. But you got to remember, Ron Logan was driving all around. So he probably drove right by the Freedom Bridge on his way to the dump or wherever else he ended up that day. He had every reason to try to create a fake alibi. I mean, you've seen what happened to him. He's a repeat offender. Those habitual offender laws right there. That was enough motivation for him to try to come up with a alibi there. Thank you, Turbo. I appreciate you coming and participating. Matt says, I have been to the bridge and I have walked the exact route they supposedly took, and it would be virtually impossible not to have found them that night if they were there. And you could be right, Matt. Like I said, even Mike Patty says he wasn't told for sure, that they will not tell him 100% that the girls were not taken from that scene and brought back and dumped at that location. Yep, create that confusion. And as long as we're not hitting it on the head, you know, all this speculation, because even Doug Carter says it in an interview, because one of these journalists got kind of got offended by what Doug said. He made a comment about speculation, and Doug Carter clarified and said, no, we need the speculation. We love the speculation. He's like, but what you can't expect me to do is to tell you, you know, what's going on with the investigation and why. Don't ask me stuff like that. But the speculation is great. So that's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to do what Mike and Becky Patty asked for. We're going to spread the word far and wide. Some of our subscribers are in Europe, Australia, India. So we've accomplished that, and we're going to continue with that goal. And we're going to continue on with the speculation that Doug Carter loves so much. As long as we don't expect to understand what exactly happened and demand the cards that they're holding close that are needed to get a conviction. But on that note, we're going to hang out and chat, and we're going to close out this live stream, and I'm going to do my best to catch up with you guys, okay? But we got about 10 more minutes here. What's up, Humanimal? Good to see you. Lynn, always good to see you. Vanessa. Bee's knees. Yeah, the mind fuckery. It's really disgusting. Just stay away from it. It's like you just, stay away from it. You need to stop picking through garbage. You want to go out to the trash can, open it up, and start, oh, what do we got in here today? Because it's all trash. Yep, and they had no idea what was coming. They had no clue. Yep, seahorse. Either that or he's just kind of like blocking it out because he can't handle it. DFN Goat says, internet cloud is a hell of a drug. It's a disgusting drug. And it's not even a drug. Some of these people just can't come up with content. They're always yelling at me, why are you covering the Delphi case so much? There is enough within this case for an eternity. To me, this is the case of all cases. These content creators that come out here, they're like, oh man, I don't know, I have no content. Oh, I know, we'll do like the Simpsons. The Simpsons, they just cover what's going on right now. And as long as I'm covering what's going on right now, I'll always have content. But they're just like Keegan Kline. They put on a mask and they get us to trust them. Oh, I trust this guy. He's a good family man, good God-fearing guy, No, that's not what's going on. These people are gaslighting, they're catfishing, they're trolling. Last thing they care about is justice or these families. But if they can gaslight you and convince everybody else, they don't need to change what they're doing or their narrative. They just need to change your perception of what they're doing. And that comes easy for a lot of these fucking sickos. So just be careful, be cautious. Don't get close to anybody online. Just because you're a grown person doesn't mean you can't be catfished and your life, thrown into a whirlwind. Yep, could have triggered him to the next level. I'm always searching for the motive. What could possibly be the motive? Yeah. I wonder, Bossy, what if the girls were already down the hill? And he's like, all right, guys, down the hill, go find them, go chase them. All right, guys, I want to thank everybody who participated in the chat. Anybody who's watching the replay, just leave a comment, and I'm sure anybody that was watching today or interested in the topic will answer those questions. So I'll do my best. But I want to thank everybody. Enjoy your Monday, and I'll see you guys again real soon. Goodbye.